462.
Today came a final unanswered call.
462, Sergeant Smith. There is no answer from 462. Iowa State Patrol Sergeant Jim Smith went 1042 for the last time on April 9th, 2021. Sergeant Smith, your brothers and sisters in law enforcement will forever watch over your family. May you rest in eternal peace.
That end of watch on police scanners mourned a hero struck down in the line of duty.
A man proud to wear the badge, but defined more by his family and faith.
Our faith teaches us that in our suffering, God is with us. Jim's priorities were faith, family, and his commitment to public service in his community.
Today, a brotherhood, a community, a family said goodbye. Sergeant Jim Smith served with the Iowa State Patrol for decades, spending nearly all of his career working out of the patrol's district office in Olwine.
But more than that, Smith was a devoted husband, father, and Christian. He died 1 week ago tonight after a traffic stop ended in a chase, an hours-long standoff. Police say a suspect shot Sergeant Smith from inside a home in Grundy Center last Friday night. A tactical team took that suspect into custody hours later. A procession brought Sergeant Smith's body back to Independence the next day, people lining the streets there Sunday to welcome him home.
And that was just a start of how the state honored his career of service. Sergeant Smith's patrol car sat outside the district office in Olwine starting Monday as people left memorials for his family and his legacy. Days later, that same patrol car sat outside the Rife Family Center Funeral Home in Independence for the visitation, lined with flowers, flags, balloons, and signs from his favorite sports teams.
That, of course, brings us to today, when many packed Independence Junior Senior High School for his funeral. KCRG TV9's Nicole Agee leads our team coverage in Independence as law enforcement from around the state and beyond paid their respects to Sergeant Smith.
Deputies, officers, and troopers from every corner of Iowa filled this parking lot today and offered a salute and a final thank you to Sergeant Smith. Those who knew him best knew he loved being a trooper, but he was so much more than that. It didn't define him, as he was also a family man and a man of God.
And the home of the brave.
A long procession of law officers from around the state saluted Sergeant Smith before they took their seats, filling the gym at Independence Junior Senior High School. The interim pastor of his church, Pastor Paul Hepker of Jessup Bible Fellowship, offered his personal reflection of the person Sergeant Smith was.
He was this mixture of stern law officer and comedian. However, I was very clear about a few things. Jim loved superheroes.
Sergeant Smith, a superhero himself to his family and community, the program for his service designed like a comic strip. Colonel Nathan Folk acknowledged the support of Sergeant Smith's family and town of Independence in what's been a difficult week.
You've reminded us why we love working, serving, and living in the state of Iowa. You've reminded us why we have a strong passion to serve and protect those in the community.
Matt Perez, a former pastor at Jessup Bible Fellowship, spoke to Smith's family, which is similar to his own. Parents planning to be empty nesters, a parent gone too soon. Sergeant Smith had written a letter to his kids over the years, now 34 pages long. Perez read an excerpt about the day Smith became an Iowa State Trooper.
To everyone else, it was graduation day. For me, it was my 24th birthday. December 10th, 1993, the DPS 19th Basic Academy graduated, and we were sworn in. I became a state trooper, and your mom pinned my badge on me on my birthday. Of all the days it could have been, God arranged it so I would become a trooper on my birthday.
After 27 years with the patrol, his last call to service.
462, Sergeant Smith. There is no answer from 462. Iowa State Patrol Sergeant Jim Smith.
After the service, Sergeant Smith's family gathered for a private burial service as Sergeant Smith was laid to rest. In Independence, Nicole Agee, KCRG TV9 News.
This Friday was a somber one, yet a busy day for so many who came through Independence to offer their respects to Sergeant Jim Smith, from the early morning before the funeral to the procession that led to his final resting place. KCRG TV9's Phil Reed continues our team coverage. And Phil, he connected with people who went to the funeral.
Hundreds of people packed the gym today to say their final goodbyes to Sergeant Jim Smith. From laughs to tears, lawmakers in uniform, friends, family, and community members all gathered for the funeral and the procession.
Jim was a superhero. He loved to be Batman. He loved to be, he liked to go after bad guys, and he was not afraid to tell you that.
A 27-year veteran of the Iowa State Patrol, his service was an extension of his faith.
He was a man of God, a man of faith, a family man, dedicated to his work, and just an overall good guy.
Sergeant Smith and his wife, Catherine, have 2 children. Jane Reed taught their son in 6th grade.
Xander, their son, lost his dad and his best friend.
I could see his dad. I knew his dad, grew up with his dad, and I could see him in his eyes and in his face, and that brought back memories as well.
There were certainly tears and moments of laughter too.
I did have to crack up hearing about his vice was chocolate milk. Kind of makes me want to go get some chocolate milk, but it was just, honestly, it was incredible just to see everybody come together from all over to see this. You could tell he touched a lot of hearts though, because especially with all like the youth group, and it was pretty cool seeing he played the drums, and it was pretty interesting too. It was like, oh, just everybody in there. I actually didn't know how old he was, so when the one guy said, he looked 31 or 30 or whatever, but he's like 51.
As Reed says her final goodbye to Sergeant Smith, she trusts they will meet again.
As a family, you saw in their brochure, it said that when Jim got there, God said, "Well done, my faithful servant." To me, if Jim saw me, he would say, "Hey, you know what? I beat you there."
And you can see the sign behind me. It says, Sergeant Jim Smith, never forgotten. That's here at Independence Junior Senior High School, an individual who truly touched a lot of lives. Live in Independence, Phil Reed at KCRG TV9 News.
Sergeant Smith's death came in the line of duty, but those who knew him best will always remember him as a man of God, devoted father and husband.
Tonight, we wanted to share part of his obituary. It reads, "Quality time with his family was most important to Jim. He made them laugh every second of every day, and the memories of wheezing until their lungs hurt will be cherished forever. Jim will be greatly missed by everyone who knew him. He was an upholder of justice, a loving husband and father, a comedian, a humble man of God, and a superhero. To this day, nobody has seen Batman and Jim in the same room." Iowa has put more than 2 million doses of the COVID-19 vaccine into arms. But what happens to vaccines left over from no-show appointments or just excess vaccine left in that vial?
KCRG TV9's Kristen Rogers visited a Unity Point Health St. Luke's clinic in Cedar Rapids to find out exactly that. Kristen.
Chris, they told me they do not throw a single dose away. Sometimes that means working a little late to make sure every vaccine has an arm to go in.
Which arm are you going to choose today?
100%. All of our vaccines get put in arms.
Staff at Unity Point Health St. Luke's in Cedar Rapids do not end their workday until that happens.
I'm going to start your timer.
We sometimes are working after hours and we'll wait for a patient so that we can get them here.
Once vaccines are out and the seal is broken, they have to be used before they go stale. But oftentimes there is leftover vaccine in a vial. On top of that, there is the occasional no-show appointment. Terry Edwards and her son Dalton of Central City weren't going to miss their appointments Friday afternoon at the clinic on Centerpoint Road in Hiawatha. They knocked out their second dose of vaccine.
I feel it's in place for a reason, and what I can do to protect myself, my family, and everybody else is what I'm going to do.
If there is leftover vaccine for any reason, staff here will work to find someone to take the dose. Bottom line, they want to get as many people vaccinated for COVID-19 as possible.
We have our team just work that wait list, contact patients that are eligible,
get them scheduled, and bring them in that same day.
It's a process that so far has kept them from tossing out a single dose.
They're safe, they make a difference, they're offering hope to us as we move through this pandemic.
And they're not alone. Mercy Medical Center in Cedar Rapids told me they never throw away vaccines either. Typically, if there is vaccine left over, they will move later appointments up a day to make sure they get used. In the studio, Kristen Rogers, KCRG TV 9 News.
Thanks. Investigators were back in Anamosa today, now 3 weeks after a fatal attack inside the state penitentiary.
And meanwhile, lawmakers are jousting in Des Moines over more money for all of Iowa's prisons.
Now is the time for you to order that weather radio for our upcoming programming events in May and June. Coming up, we'll take a look at the first alert forecast for Cloutier, Bristow, and the rest of eastern Iowa. Keep it here on your 24-hour news and weather source, KCRG TV 9.
An outside investigation is now happening in Anamosa, looking into that attack that killed 2 workers at the penitentiary.
6 out-of-state security experts will review the deadly attack from March 23rd, along with the security policies and procedures at the maximum security facility.
Those security experts, they're from South Dakota and Minnesota. They'll also give recommendations on how to improve Anamosa's prisons policies and procedures. Now, those recommendations are crucial because then lawmakers will know how much money the department needs. House Republicans are calling for about $20 million in new funding. Senate Republicans proposed about $6 million. Speaker of the House, Pat Grassley, says he doesn't know what the final number will be at this point.
I think it's too early to say what a number could be that we could support or that we could find a compromise at this point.
$20 million would be the largest increase in funding the Department of Corrections has seen in a decade. Democrats in the State House say the department needs much more, though, than that $20 million that House Republicans have proposed.
Frankly, I think adding those 2 numbers together would be a starting point and probably not even where the number finally should be.
The governor's office and the Correctional Officers Union are waiting for results of that independent investigation for their dollar figure.
Cedar Rapids police are investigating a deadly shooting on the northeast side along one of the busiest stretches in the city that sees thousands of cars a day. Officers found a 26-year-old man with several gunshot wounds at a house at 32nd Street Northeast, right by Centerpoint Road before 10 last night. Police say the man died on scene. They've not released his name. Officers say this appears to be a targeted shooting. No arrests yet.
Cedar Rapids police have arrested the man who they say was trying to get Kennedy High School students into his car with the promise of money. Douglas Kay is 63 years old, and we found his criminal history, which includes a conviction for second-degree sexual abuse. This morning, students alerted the school's resource officer of a suspicious person in the south parking lot. When the officer approached Kay, they say he sped off, and the chase ended when he hit a dead end in the 2200 block of Shady Oaks Court Northeast. And we want to remind you that when you see news after alerting authorities to call Newsline 9 319-365-9999. You can also send us news tips, pictures, and videos to newsroom@kcrg.com.
Now, your first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Joe Winters.
Always great to take a look at our city cams across eastern Iowa, especially when they show some sunshine. In the past several days, the pattern really has repeated itself. In the morning, we have some sunshine. Then those clouds start to build. Today, a little more sunshine, a little longer beneath the clouds. But now those clouds have rolled in. And unlike the past several days, those clouds are going to stick around as we head through tonight. But really, not any major impacts as far as the weather on your first alert for the next 24 hours. In fact, overall, a pretty decent weekend ahead as we'll see some lighter, non-gusty winds and dry conditions. Yeah, we'll deal with some clouds. We can do that from time to time. Not dry all across the upper Midwest and plains. In fact, areas in Nebraska, southwest Iowa, Missouri dealing with some showers. High pressure kind of keeping us in that northerly airflow, keeping temperatures cooler. This system, I think, scoots far enough toward the south and east that it avoids most of eastern Iowa with any precipitation at all. The spot we could watch maybe for a shower or two down to the south, probably Washington and points to the south if it gets as far north as Washington. That'd be mainly just some sprinkles during the overnight hours. You'll see as we head through our Saturday, generally a mostly cloudy sky in place. And then as we work into Sunday, a bit more sunshine. So we'll call it partly cloudy on Sunday. And with that partly cloudy sky, it certainly will look and feel just a bit better. Tonight's forecast, zone-wide, we're pretty close to that normal of 37, upper 30s, lower 40s. Mostly cloudy skies now have built across a good share of eastern Iowa. Still have to get there in the northeast zone, and all of us do see mostly cloudy skies tomorrow. Upper 50s very consistent, and north wind continues right around 10 to 20. And that north wind, as you see, really continues all the way throughout. Sunday, maybe a little bit more westerly turn to the winds, but there's your northwest wind on Monday behind a system that moves in, bringing down some cold air. Next Wednesday, looks like it could be a windy day as well, all around from the northwest. And as long as that northerly component of the wind is with us, you know it's going to stay cool. In fact, take a look at the temperature outlook now right through the end of April. Look at that, below normal conditions from the upper Midwest all the way back across the areas of the Ohio Valley. The warmth still back off to the west, getting closer, and it does look like as we move through the early part of May, we are going to start to warm things up once again near or above seasonal levels. Here's your 9-day forecast. There you see those winds again, strongest as we work toward Monday. That's with a cold front moving in. Right now, it develops some rain showers, or could be some rain and snow showers early in Monday before that front moves through. We'll hit 52 degrees. Look at that, down to 31 as we work our way into Tuesday. That means if we get some precipitation Monday night and Tuesday, that could be a rain-snow mix. We're going to watch that really carefully as we head through the early part of next week, but it definitely does bring down some cooler air. In fact, some freezing conditions Wednesday morning down in the upper 20s. We rebound back to where we are right now. It looks like by Earth Day with that high in the upper 50s, keeping that as we head into next week, and maybe by the following Sunday, we could be seeing some middle 60s.
We'll take it. Thanks, Joe. Iowa wide receiver Tyrone Tracy is excited to showcase his talents as a main target.
And plenty of parents of high school track and field athletes will not get to watch the Drake relays in person this year after the tickets sold out in minutes. Stay with your 24-hour news source, TV9.
Now, KCRG TV9 Sports with Scott Sable.
Hawkeye fans will get the chance to watch the Hawkeye football team in person for the first time in 15 months tomorrow morning at 9:30 when they hold an open practice at Kinnick Stadium. Hawkeyes lost a couple of dynamic playmakers in Amir Smith-Marset and Brandon Smith, but they returned some talent at wide receiver. Tyrone Tracy has shown his explosiveness the last couple of years, and will have a chance to showcase his talent this year as a real game breaker.
I got really high goals for this year. Obviously, knowing that B. Smith and Amir left, I have some big shoes to fill, and I'm ready to take that role. Obviously, my goal is to do better than 13 catches and 100 yards. Hopefully, I can get that in one game, but we'll see where we go. But yeah, my main goal right now is just being a great teammate.
Tyrone has been working hard this spring, developing a chemistry with quarterback Spencer Petras. Tracy says you'll see a much improved quarterback in Petras this year after 1 year of starting under his belt.
Y'all could remember Spence wasn't super accurate last fall, but right now, he's putting balls on the money. He's a great leader, which he's always been a great leader, but right now it seems like he has more respect because he's been on the field for a year, and he's acting like he knows what he's doing. He's a vet.
Finally, the Drake relays are back next week, but a lot of parents won't get the chance to watch their kids compete in person this year. When parents went to buy tickets yesterday, this is what they saw online. There are currently no tickets available. Parents were frantically searching for tickets on Facebook. To comply with COVID-19 regulations, only about 3,000 tickets were on sale. Those tickets were open to season pass holders before the public. Drake University says it's standard for all their sporting events. And with that comes even fewer tickets for parents.
And I know that, COVID played a huge part in being able to have the general public be able to watch their son or daughter participate in Drake relays. I just feel as though I think it would have been fair to have allowed wristbands or a ticket, 1 to 2 tickets per participant in high school at least. For families to come and watch their child participate.
I get the concern and the frustration because certainly there are those that feel like we should have offered the Thursday tickets to the parents of high schoolers first.
Me being a former Drake runner, and to not be able to see my son participate in this event is very unfortunate. And it's his first year as a sophomore being able to participate in Drake, and he's kind of, a little down that he won't have his family there to support him.
Kristen's son, Miles Thompson from Wash, is ranked #1 in the state in the 100 meters. She gets why they're only limiting the number of fans. We all do, but I can relate. Watching my daughters compete at Drake are by far the best sports moments in my life. For the second straight year, parents won't be able to share this with their sons and daughters. I feel for them. Parents will be able to watch their athletes compete live on television and the internet this year. Back to you, Chris and Beth.
Scott, thanks for bringing us that story.
And back to Chief Meteorologist Joe Winters for the final forecast.
Clouds have been rolling in, and they'll continue to thicken now as we head through the remainder of our evening and overnight hours, especially across our northeast zone, where we're still seeing some of that clearing that we saw earlier across all of eastern Iowa. I think primarily dry for the weekend, maybe a sprinkle far south on Saturday, 57. Sunday, a partly cloudy sky, looking pretty good.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you for joining us for the KCRG TV9 News at 6.
And we hope you'll be with us again tonight at 10. Have a great evening.